What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. Okay, well, yesterday was a very difficult day for the team as well as the community to a certain extent because of the fact that layoffs were announced. There's roughly 45% of the team that was laid off yesterday. And the team posted this as well as held a town hall. So I did have a last minute stream with Foyer where we kind of dug into some of the aspects from the overall town hall, but I wanted to do a biggest takeaways as well, just because that conversation, you can go back and listen to it. Foyer is a lot of fun to talk to. He's got great perspective, but it's kind of wide ranging, and I wanted to zero in on specific things that were said in the town hall and share it with you guys, so that you don't need to go back through an hour and a half live stream. So before I even jump into anything, obviously, yesterday was difficult, and there are very real people who had their lives dramatically changed over the course of 24 hours when they found out this information. So I don't mean to minimize or to make light of it or to skip over it, right? But this is, and let me go back for a second. I don't mean to do any of that. I wish them all the best. They are some of the most talented people that I know, and I am confident and hopeful that they will find a way to land on their feet and hit the ground running wherever they end up. And hopefully these changes can allow Splinterlands to get back into a position where they can bring them back, which is something that Aggroed has been saying. But I do want to focus on the game elements here for all of the players that are following this, and really focus on what is happening with the project overall based on what was said in the town hall. So let's go ahead and dive in. Like I said, I have usual 5 biggest takeaways. This isn't your usual town hall, but I still try to keep the same element here. So you can see the 5 things we're going to cover. And we'll just start right from the top. So first and foremost, and they said this in the post, is that there was no FTX exposure. And while in my notes here, they didn't say still significant impact. That's my analysis overall. And obviously, due to the fact that this bear market is continuing and the FTX drama over the past week and a half or so has really, led to more contagion, more companies going under or filing for bankruptcy. This was something that the team viewed as a sign or a signal that we're not anywhere close to the bear market being done. And therefore, they made the decision now, and we're very clear to say that the company is doing okay, but what they're trying to do is get ahead of the fact that they expect 2023 to be a little bit more rough, right? And so I've been of the same mindset. Obviously, I had no idea what was going on within the company. And for those who had been asking, I'm a contractor, so I actually don't really know what the official thing for me is yet. I'm still waiting to hear back. But, as a contractor, they can just kind of reduce hours or not have any projects. And if you've noticed, there hasn't been a lore for quite a while. So I think that was probably in relation to this. But I'm getting ahead of, or I'm digressing a little too much. So going back to this and what we were talking about with the no FTX exposure, when I'm thinking about 2023, there's still a lot of macro stuff that is not sitting well with me. Inflation is still pretty high, and the Fed is continuing to raise rates. And I know that there is talk about them potentially reducing the amount of rate hikes that they are going to do in December if inflation numbers continue to improve. But that's still raising interest rates, right? It's just not raising them as fast as they have been. And so I know for many people here who are following, who don't care about the macro or the economy stuff and are just following this because they enjoy the game. The only reason I'm giving this context to you guys is because hopefully it'll help you understand why the team was making some of the decisions that they were making. So if we are expecting more of a downturn in 2023 and, officially in the US, a recession has not even been called yet, right? So they're thinking that 2023 might see the recession actually hit. And my hope personally, and I can dig into this in another video if you guys want, but my hope and my timeline for where I would optimistically like things to be is once we get through the first half of 2023, things can start to turn around. I'm not saying that we're going to hit a bull market or a bull run. I'm just saying that if we can get inflation under control over the next 6 to 7 months, we can potentially see a Fed pivot maybe middle of next year. That's kind of the timeline that I have in my head. But again, that's not any kind of investment advice, and there's nothing really based or backing that. It's just where we've seen and what we can expect over the next couple of months, and maybe a little bit of optimism too. So that's first and foremost. No FTX exposure, but clearly there was still an FTX impact or drama impact from what happened. And the team made the decision that they wanted to play it safe and ensure that they would be able to survive a prolonged bear market, as we've seen this has been one of the more brutal ones. Number two, Aggie released kind of like what their baseline reserves are. And so it's 50%, it's 50-50 cash and crypto is kind of what he revealed. Now, he didn't get into what crypto assets they're holding, although I believe Matt did clarify and said that any crypto that they're holding from the game tokens, right? So vouchers, which I don't even know if they're holding vouchers, but DEC and SPS, they don't consider that part of their reserves. They actually have reserves that are probably in more of the conservative large cap tokens such as Ethereum and Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin is down 70, 80% from its all-time high. We're still struggling here. Ethereum, even with the merge back in September, didn't pump as much. But we're in a point where all of these are down significantly still. And there is fear that the FTX contagion is not done yet, so they can go down even further. So when you think about the fact that they are 50-50 crypto and cash, that eats into their reserves quite a bit, considering that 50% of your holdings or your reserves are down that much over the past, year. And so, again, this isn't a commentary on what they should be holding. I don't run a business, or, at least not a business of that size. So I can't, however they want to run their business, that's fine. I don't think that they did anything wrong. I'm a big believer in crypto and especially large cap tokens, and obviously Bitcoin for sure. So this has just been a brutal bear market. And I'm not saying that 50-50 was the right or wrong way to go. Nobody could have really anticipated just how aggressive the Fed would be, but here we are. And Aggie was very transparent with where their holdings are at, or what they are actually holding, and how that has impacted them. Okay. Number three, this is an important one here, because, for everybody who's worried about what may happen to the game, there's two elements that they mentioned. And, actually I didn't even include one here, but I'll say it. I'll just say it vocally. So right now the team is saying that they have roughly a 14 to 18 month runway. So it's about a year and a half. Now, over the next couple of months, they plan to do a capital raise, meaning that they are going to sell some equity within the company to help them get even more of a float and push it out to anywhere between 2 to 3 years of runway. Now, again, 2 to 3 years is a long time in crypto. I mean, even 18 months is a long time in the crypto markets. My hope is that we will be well, recovered from a market standpoint, not just crypto, but regular markets in 2 to 3 years. And I think that's where the team is anticipating, a safe space for them to be, would be. The only thing that I can throw out is the Bitcoin halving that is happening, I believe, like April or May of 2024. And a lot of people will look at that and say, it doesn't really matter anymore. But it did lead to the 3 past bull runs that we've had in crypto. Granted, keep in mind that this is the first time we may have a Bitcoin halving in a macro bear market, right? Bitcoin came out in 2009 and we were in a macro bull market for like 12 years. So things could be different now. And even though I have that date in my head, it's as kind of anchored for, roughly 18 months from now, it may not play out the same way. But my hope is that there will be a turnaround, and, governments around the world and here in the US will be able to focus on the economy and get inflation down. Hopefully supply chains will start catching up from, everything that happened with the pandemic, and 2 to 3 years will hopefully be enough time for the team to be not just comfortable, but thriving, right? For them to really put out things, and hopefully the market recovers in that way. The last thing, or the other thing that I want to add on to this, is they are burning roughly $1 million a month. That's their burn rate, meaning all of their expenses currently, right? After the layoffs and after they've downsized, it's about $1 million a month. And a lot of that goes to maintaining the servers that the game runs on, because without that, we have nothing and we lose everything. So that is the most important thing, making sure that the server, server on button or server power button stays on. And again, what does that mean for where they're at right now and how much funding they're looking to raise? I believe they want to raise anywhere from 5 to 20 million, based on what kind of deals they can get or what kind of negotiations they can do. But that would get them to hopefully the 3-year mark. And Matt clarified and said that they have only given a very small part of equity to up so far, and upcoming with this next capital raise, they plan on keeping it small. They want to have and maintain primary control of the game. So I'm not worried about that. I mean, nobody really likes having to raise money unless you really, really have to, but I think the team is in a place where they want to make sure or ensure that they'll be okay for years to come, and will allow them the time to build out all of the cool things that we are hoping for and wanting from the game that could potentially bring in more capital, bring in more players, and maybe they expand further with more partnerships. So I think that's important. Just wanted to share some of those numbers with you. Okay, number 4. Some changes in the overall organizational structure, but Hardpoint was moved to the product team and PJ was promoted to CTO. Now, I think that this is a great move, and actually they didn't cover it here. I personally don't know PJ. I don't know much about PJ, but I trust the team's discretion or their judgment, and I'm happy for PJ. So congrats to PJ. But I'm also happy for Hardpoint because this seems like where he wanted to go. And if you have seen, he's been very, very excited about the development of tower defense. And, I think Hardpoint has a lot of great energy, a lot of cool ideas, and maybe this is, not maybe, but hopefully this is the best spot for him to be in where he can focus on product with Matt. Obviously, they're focusing on different things, but, Hardpoint has talked about like the arcade idea a while back, and I would love for in 2 years, tower defense to be one of many arcade titles that exist as a game within a game, or different things that we can that the Splinterlands economy can offer, or Splinterlands umbrella, I should say, can offer to players with all different kinds of interest, right? I keep saying that we need a Candy Crush. We need a Candy Crush of Splinterlands. Something simple, something that my mom can play, right? Something that she can just flip on, easy to play, and she earns some crypto here and there. And, again, is that stuff easily botted? Sure. But if it's a fun game and people can get into it, I really believe in the move from Web 2 to Web 3. So hopefully we can find a way to do that. And Hardpoint moving to product is something that gets me excited about any and all new innovations. Now, that being said, what they have said so far is that they are focused on delivering all of stuff that they have promised. So Land, Rooney, Tower Defense, Rebellion, all this stuff coming next year. Obviously, validator nodes are another big part. But there's a couple of things here that I think somebody asked Matt, and he really didn't go into detail on it, but it's just like new player experience and then gameplay and reward updates. I think this stuff is, the gameplay and reward updates, I think we're seeing that regularly, right? With all of the different proposals and different updates that come out. Obviously, the card one just came out, or like the card level one just got implemented on Tuesday. So I think when it comes to gameplay and reward updates, it's just going to be these minor tweaks to, help address the advantages that bots are gaining both at the high and low leagues. The new player experience, though, is something that I do hope they take a closer look at. And, hopefully now that they can narrow their scope down, they don't have to worry about launching new projects. They will be able to take a closer look at that and address some of the things. DEC and voucher syncs, we desperately need those, so that's great. And then obviously GLS, or GLG, I should say, is set to come out next year as well. So, there's still a lot on their plates right now. But like I said, with Hardpoint moving over to product and spending time in a place where he says, or it sounds like he said he wanted to be, I can't be anything but happy for the guy being in a position that he wants to be in and focusing on the things that he wants to focus on. And like I said, I already love his energy and what he brings to the team. So that gets me excited about the future, right? 2-3 years out for Splinterlands. So not talking about these, but any future projects and products that they choose to launch. Okay, and then finally, this was quite a big reveal, or at least it made a big deal for me, but we've been talking about doing some kind of promo card to burn DEC. And I've been talking about it as a lower level promo card that, a common card, for example, that you spend 100, 200 DEC on, whatever the case is. and allow that to burn DEC, right? Doesn't need to be based on any person in real life, doesn't need to have any kind of event. I mean, it'd be cool, right? There's holidays coming up, or, if there's seasonal things, like do stuff like that. And I think people will burn DEC left and right if you can implement those. But it looks like, and I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but it looks like there's another opportunity for promo cards, and Aggie was listening about having lower level promo cards. But he says that they're planning some upcoming sales or promotions, I should say, for pack sales. And I'm thinking probably specifically Chaos Legion, because the burning for that will start in December now. And I'm sure they want to sell more than they burn, right? At this point, right? If they burn, that's revenue the team never gets. Whereas if they find a way to get you and I to buy these packs, then that could be something that drives more revenue for the team, gives them a longer runway, allows them to reinvest back into the company, potentially hire more people or hire people back. So I like that idea. And one of the things that he said is if they offer a promo card with pack sales, again, there's no details, so I'm just speculating on this, but let's say, for example, there are there's 400 BCX for a common card, right? Well, what would that mean? You'd have to have or buy 400 packs from the store in order to max out this common promo card. And hopefully it's a card that people want, maybe a cool, neutral healer or something that has like, an interesting element to it that collectors will want. And so I was just doing rough numbers on the stream last night with Foye, and I'm going to keep these rough numbers today, but it's like, how many people in the game would want a max copy? Because our player base, the numbers, nobody really knows what the true numbers are. There's obviously quite a few bots and bot farms, but I put the real number of players anywhere between like 10 to 50,000. But I was just saying, if you had 1,000 players, and I know we don't have 1,000 players that are playing at the Diamond Champ level, but just 1,000 players that wanted to get a max copy of this, you could easily eat up 400,000 packs. 1,000 players times 400 BCX. And I know I'm not accounting for any of the bonus packs that might come in with that, but that would also be a voucher sync and could help. My point is that promo cards and sales like this to incentivize, pack sales. Sorry, promotions like this to incentivize pack sales could be really big. And I just wish the team had been doing this from the beginning. So they're doing it now, or at least it sounds like they're doing it now. And I don't have any more details. And again, wait until there's a post to know that it's official. But I love this idea, and I'm glad that the team is considering it. And I really, really do hope that they implement it. And keep in mind, we're in the second half of November now. So if this is going to be something that's for the holidays or Black Friday, this could be just a couple of weeks away, and we may start hearing about it very soon. So those are my 5 biggest takeaways. I apologize. I know this video probably went a little bit longer than I was expecting, but let me just maintain that I'm still very excited about where Splinterlands, the project, and the company are going, right? Obviously, this was a difficult thing for the team to have to do. And, let me put it this way. A year ago, because of the SPS airdrop, bot farms just started making accounts left and right? We had so many spellbooks purchased, and all of that ended up being revenue for the team. And the team turned around and they hired a bunch of people. They didn't go retire to some island. They didn't pocket the cash like a lot of other rug pull projects that I've seen out there, right? They turned around and they reinvested back into the business. And you can look at that and say, oh, well, they were too aggressive, whatever the case is. I still look back at that and say, well, they did the right thing. They believed in their vision. They believed in what they were trying to put together. And they went out and they found incredibly talented people to help bring that vision to life. Now, nobody anticipated the bear market being this long or this bad. And while the team, I believe, has been relatively conservative, they got to a point where, there were probably some redundancies. There were probably some things that they needed to cut down on. And so here we are, right? It's a difficult decision, but look around the rest of the world. Every major company is going through layoffs right now. Every major company is downsizing. So nobody is spared from this. Everybody's trying to get ahead of the curve, or maybe it's too late for some folks, or sorry, not some folks, but for some companies, right? So this is not uncommon. And, I applaud the team for being as transparent as possible with this, and as well as hopefully, as gracious and handling it with a certain level of grace, I guess, right? So I know this is never an easy thing for anybody to go through. So, and I don't envy the people or the leadership on the team having to make these decisions. I've gotten to know several of them over the last couple of months or the last year. And, this is not anything that anybody wanted, but, my heart goes out to the people who were affected by this, and I do hope that they end up in a much better place. I'm a big believer, whatever you believe in, right? Universe, God, whatever. Like I'm a big believer that things happen for a reason, right? So whatever it is, it might just be the kick in the pants for them to start their own company, or for them to have that door open for them for a better opportunity, or whatever the case is. So I'm hopeful for that. And for the team, I'm hopeful that this tough decision that they had to make, is going to be something that puts them on track to really deliver all the stuff that they've been trying to deliver, and put themselves in a position to, get this project to where all of us would like it to go. And when I say project, I'm not just talking about Splinterlands. I'm talking about the Splinterlands umbrella that includes GLG, that includes, tower defense, and potentially even like the Warner stuff that's coming around the corner. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your comments and your thoughts below. I will catch you all in the next one, and I will see you around the game. Have an amazing rest of your day and an awesome weekend. Take care.